Okay, let's get back to our synthesis of yoga. So, a yoga turned towards an all embracing realization. So, I will read each sentence and let us see whether it's clear to us. Okay? Okay, so I start reading the text. Okay. A yoga turned towards an all embracing realization of the Supreme will not despise the works or even the dreams, if dreams they are, of the cosmic spirit, or shrink from the splendid toil and many sided victory which he has assigned to himself in the human creature. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, one sentence. A yoga turned towards an all-embracing realization. This is the integral yoga that Sri Aurobindo has established. Okay? So, all-embracing. Sri Aurobindo doesn't want only knowledge, he doesn't want only power, he doesn't want only ananda, he wants all. He wants to have the experience of the divine transcendentally. He wants to have the experience of the divine universally in the cosmic consciousness. And he also wants to see the divine in individual forms in the physical world. Integral, all embracing. Nothing is to be rejected. Okay? All the other yogas are rejecting. And some are going as far as to say that there are even anti-divine forces at the bottom. Sri Aurobindo doesn't agree at all. A yoga turned towards an all-embracing realization of the Supreme will not despise the works or even the dreams, if dreams they are, of the cosmic spirit, or shrink from the splendid toil and many-sided victory that he has assigned to himself in the human creature. Now look at the sentence carefully and you will see he is explaining the all-embracing realization. First, he has spoken about the Supreme. Okay? So you have to explain the Supreme, transcendental. Then he comes of the cosmic spirit, universally. Okay? And finally, in the human creature, the individual. So the structure of the sentence is such we might miss this point. But he is establishing in this sentence itself how it is all embracing. Okay? He is including the transcendental, he is including the universal cosmic spirit, and is also saying in the human creature. And all this the divine has said, he has set himself a target. Okay? I will hide myself in the opposite of myself and I will escape from there, and not only individually, I will do that through billions and billions of people. I will enjoy infinitely. Every time I enjoy, I will enjoy. And who is that enjoying? The individual soul. The individual soul is going to enjoy, and the individual soul is nothing but the divine. And I am going to do this. This is the task I have set for myself. We all have goals in life. So the divine has made a goal for himself. He will bind himself down into the opposite of himself. He is light, he will put himself into darkness. He is omnipotent, he will put himself into absolute opposite of force. He will have total ananda, but he will undergo purposely and with full consent suffering, pain, adverse reactions in the physical world and escape from there. So this is the sentence. So I now go to the next sentence. But its first condition for this liberality is that our works in the world too must be a part of the sacrifice offered to the highest and to none else, to the divine Shakti and to no other power, in the right spirit and with the right knowledge, by the free soul and not by the hypnotized bond slave of material nature. So, the divine has said this for himself, but how can it be done? It can be done by the individual only when he is free and not when he is in darkness and subject to material nature. Material nature, universal nature is body, mind, life. Individually, is body, mind, life. So long as he is a bond slave, the interesting bond slave, he has not said only slave, he has said bond slave. You know bondage, na? Bonded labor in India, you have heard about that? Okay. The bonded laborer in India was, there used to be 600 small princely states. We know that in India. Every Jagirdar, okay, he used to have, let us say, 1,000 acres, and he's king there. Like that, the whole country was divided into Jagirdars. Okay, they were all Rajas. They were considered Rajas, and the poor people used to work in the fields, and they used to be given money and they can't pay the interest back, so they used to be always bound to the soil and bound to work, and the minimum, not wages, food and housing used to be given to them. That is a bonded slavery. It was officially and legally abolished in India some time ago. I don't remember exactly when, maybe 15, 20 years ago it was released. It's a bonded slavery. So Swami is using the word hypnotized. You have hypnotized yourself. You are the divine. You have hypnotized yourself. You have lost your consciousness. You have lost your ananda. You have lost your everything. You have hypnotized yourself, because that's a game he's playing. And he's doing it very, very happily. But when he comes down here, he's not very happy, but he's seeking happiness through this difficult thing that he has set for himself. It's like a handicap, no? When people are slightly weak in a race, okay, I give you a handicap of 10 meters. Suppose you have to run 1 mile, and the one who is weak, you give him a handicap of 100 meters, 200 meters. So the divine has given himself maximum handicap and he is escaping from there. Okay? So, bonded slave of material nature. Now, what are the works you have to do? All the works in the physical world. If a division of works has to be made, it is between those that are nearest to the heart of the sacred flame and those that are least touched or illumined by it, because they are more at a distance, or between the fuel that burns strongly and brightly and the logs that, if too thickly heaped on the altar, may impede the ardor of the fire by their rather damp, heavy, diffuse abundance. So, let's see what Swami is saying. He is saying that the normal man and religion, they make a division. There is heaven and there is a physical world. There is spirit and there is matter. In matter, divine is not there. They are making a division. So don't worry about the lower. You concentrate and go to the higher and remain there forever. So Swami is saying, we don't make a division. All embracing realization. But for that, what do you have to do? You have to first liberate yourself. If you liberate yourself, this is possible. But if you don't liberate yourself, it is impossible. So first thing, liberate yourself. And then, without rejecting the lower, you don't have to make a division. This is unspiritual work. This is spiritual work. Nothing like that. Okay? So, Swami is saying, if at all a division is made, there is definitely a darkness below. So, what is the way you will make a difference? He is saying those activities which are very conducive to a quick progress, and those activities which are not so conducive to a quick progress. You can make a difference in that. So, those activities which are conducive to quick progress, very easily and very satisfyingly you can take it up. But those activities which are not so easy, for instance, you are an athlete, okay, and you have to concentrate fully on the physical, your body, you have to concentrate. It is more difficult. Of course, you can give all your activities to the divine, but it is more difficult. The very nature of that is like that. For instance, he says about politics. Okay? He says politics by nature itself, its whole success depends upon how well you can tell lies and how well you can put down your opponent. So, politics is not consistent with spirituality. But even there it is possible, because Swami is the first one who did that. Nowhere in the world, not even in India, nobody did that. So, he introduced religion and the concept of India as the divine mother, Bharat Mata. That he is known for that. No? All the historians very clearly note that. So, Although it is very difficult, it can be done. So he is saying that there are some activities which are very difficult to turn towards the divine. If at all you want to make a distinction, you can make a distinction that way. That the more difficult activities to turn to the divine and the less difficult activities to turn to the divine. Okay? And he is using a very interesting, later on he will tell you that those activities which are very difficult to turn to the divine, temporarily you can desist from those actions. Okay? Temporarily you can desist from those actions, but later on you will see that it is possible to even incorporate all those things which you think are difficult. They can also be made spiritual action. Okay? You can begin with, since we have two doctors on the panel, I'll take the idea of treating a patient, okay, or doing an operation. So when you are doing the operation, when Yasmin is operating on the eye, she has to concentrate fully on the physical problems. Okay, she can't think of God at that time, but she can think in the beginning and pray to God, and maybe she does that already. Why? Maybe I know she does that, and at the end, give thanks. Okay, so then slowly, even during the operation, the divine can be remembered in the background. Okay, so that's what Sridhar is saying. Don't make a division and say some activities are not possible to be spiritualized, but it is possible, but it is more difficult. So those which are more difficult, you can postpone them to a certain extent. He will tell you that later on. But no fundamental, eternal, permanent divisions in the physical world. Every activity can be turned to the divine. Okay, so I read that sentence again, and we'll go on to the next. And he used a very interesting image to explain how the fire of aspiration can be dampened sometimes by damp logs. And the log is very heavy and very wet, then it can't burn very quickly. It takes time. If I'm reading the sentence, if a division of works has to be made, works means physical works in the world. Okay, your mental activity, your vital activity, and your physical activities has to be made. It is between those that are nearest to the heart of the sacred flame, and those that are least touched or illumined by it, because they are more at a distance, or between the fuel that burns strongly and brightly and the logs that, if too thickly heaped on the altar, may impede the ardor of the fire by their rather damp, heavy, diffused abundance. Each word is interesting: damp, heavy, and diffused. All of them are applicable to the damp logs as well as your aspiration for the divine. I am reading the next sentence. But otherwise, apart from this division, all activities of knowledge that seek after or express truth are in themselves rightful material for a complete offering. Remember, he is now discussing the concept of sacrifice in the works of knowledge. Okay? So, works of knowledge we have already seen: research, study, okay, history, philosophy, okay, anthropology, all mental activity. So that's what he's saying. So he's saying all activities of knowledge, he is repeating, okay? He is not letting you forget what he is discussing. All activities of knowledge, not of other things, not of art, not of physical activity like building a bridge, no. Activities of knowledge that seek after or express truth are in themselves rightful materials for a complete offering. Those things which are of knowledge, they are easier to do. That's what he said. Complete offering. None ought necessarily to be excluded from the wide framework of the divine life. Not a single activity of the mental activity. The mental and physical sciences, which examine into laws and forms and processes of things, those which concern the life of men and animals, the social, political, linguistic, historical, and those which seek to know and control the labors and activities by which man subdues and utilizes his world and environment, and the noble and beautiful arts which are at once work and also knowledge. For every well made and significant poem, picture, statue, or building is an act of creative knowledge, a living discovery of the consciousness, a figure of truth, a dynamic form of mental and vital expression or world expression, all that seeks, all that finds, all that voices or figures is a realization of something of the play of the infinite, and to that extent can be made a means of God realization or of divine formation. So, a huge sentence incorporating all the activities of the mind. Okay, so we'll have a look at that. So, the mental and physical sciences. Okay, physical sciences also can be very, very mental. When you're studying biology or when that's it, you're doing it with the mind, okay? And also, so physical, which examine into the laws. He's listing all the activities. We'll have a look at that. So, the first one is saying physical sciences which examine into the laws and forms and processes of things. It could be physics, it could even be medicine, because you must know how your liver is working, you must know how your heart is working. So, laws and forms and processes of things. What is the process by which our organs work? Those which concern the life of men and animals, biology if you want, or physiology, okay, or even a life of men, anthropology, okay, and animals. In the physical world, you study how the animals are there, research they do, they go and look at, entrench themselves in the jungles of Africa and go on watching the animals for years and years together. They are funded usually by research teams and they do that. Then now they saying the social, that is sociology, political, okay. Then polity is the science of politics, politics. Linguistics, okay. Linguistics today is also a science. Language, how does what is the origin of language? From where does it come? What is the relation of sound to word? That's very interesting. The words, do they always indicate the sound? Are they what you call in poetry onomatopoeia? No? Is there a relation between the sound and the word? Okay. Like Srindra has quoted one for Kalidas. Okay. So, yeah. The cricket's sound it makes at night. Huh? So Kalidas has used this image which Srindra has pointed that out. I forget the exact Sanskrit word, but it is Tarika Menu. Okay. Anyway, so that's what he's listing all the activities there, mental activities, linguistics.
Is it Rangada? Is it Jillika Gananaditam?
That's right.
Vanamati Korabhayam. Vanamati Korabhayam Jillika Gananaditam.
Yes, exactly. So, Jillika, that is a onomatopoeia. The sound actually, what do you say? Even in English word, na, say, take the word growl. Okay? Growling is the sound which is related to the word. Na? So, that's what Sridhar is saying. Linguistic and historical. So, even history, the study of history is a work of knowledge. So, all these things he is listing actually. And those which seek to know and control the labors and activities by which man subdues and utilizes his world and environment. All science is trying to do that. Huh? Control the labors. Okay, even the every major company has got a labor official. Okay? He is the one who looks after the labor problems. And I can assure you there are plenty of labor problems. I had to face any number of them in the press. So you have to study how to get the best out of the labor and yet keep them satisfied. It's quite a job. And the activity by which man subdues and utilizes his world. He is talking of all the Even in medicine also, you are subduing the diseases, okay, and utilizing the world for your better. So engineering also is that environment. And then now he is going to arts, and he says art also is a work of knowledge. He is including that, and he's telling you why also. He's telling you because for every well-made, significant poem, if you are a poet, you can be classed as it's a work of knowledge. Picture, if you are a painter. Statue, if you are a sculptor. Or a building, if you are an architect, okay, is an act of creative knowledge. So all these activities, whether you are a poet or you are an artist or you are a architect or even a sculptor, they can all be made part of the divine life. It can be part of your sadhana. A living discovery of the consciousness, a figure of truth. All your activity, whether it be medicine or engineering or poetry, it all becomes part of a figure of truth. It can be made into a symbol of truth, a dynamic form of mental and vital self-expression or world expression. Okay? That means you are bringing out if self-expression, poetry very clearly, and sculpting also, painting also, you are expressing yourself. Or world expression, the other sciences, no? That also is a world expression. One is a self-expression, as you said just now, whether you are a poet or a painter or a sculptor or even an architect, because when you are doing architecture, in your mind you are looking and finding the best form for the building. So, and world expression, all the other sciences. Okay? Engineering, medicine, all these are also, you are trying to improve things in the world and taking uh, the, uh, the world one step more towards perfection. All that seeks, all that finds, all that voices or figures is a realization of something of the play of the infinite, and to that extent can be made a means of God realization or divine formation. So, again, note the word God realization and divine formation. How those language and the God realization, self-expression. Divine formation, world expression. Interesting, na? Just see carefully. This is how one has to God realization in yourself and divine formation in the physical world. You are improving things, whether it be engineering or whether it be medicine. Okay, you are making formations. You are making things in the physical world. So I go to the next one. But the yogin has to see that it is no longer done as a part of an ignorant mental life. It can be accepted by him only if, by the feeling, the remembrance, the dedication within it, it is turned into a movement of the spiritual consciousness and becomes a part of its vast grasp of comprehensive, illuminating knowledge. So, in other words, he's saying all activities can be made part of the sadhana, part of your spiritual, conscious spiritual life. But you have to do it in three ways. First of all, feeling. You must not feel that you are treating a patient. You must not feel that. You must feel that as though he is divine and you are participating in that. Okay. Srila says something very interesting elsewhere. That's why I am quoting this. He says that even when you are doing something charity, okay. Now, for instance, I'm telling you this because it's related to. Now, we have to. My sister is, she's paralyzed on one side now, and she can't speak also very well. So we have to pay a lot of attention to her. But when we are paying attention to her, we should not think that we are paying attention to my sister. We must think that we are doing it for the divine in her. That's what Srila is saying. Okay? So if you do that, then every activity can be made part of the soul. If you are a surgeon or you are a doctor, you treat the patient as though he is divine. So you have to give maximum attention and care. No? So it becomes so, it changes the whole structure of your life. If you do it,
Rangada,
yeah, tell me.
in Jainism, we have that. I have given you the Srimad Rajchandra book, no, to read. He has given one sutra: Sarva Jiva Che Siddhasam.
Ah,
All
that's,
the lives are siddha, divine. Think that, and you work.
yes.
Think
In
and lives.
Jainism, yeah. In Jainism also, you gave me one book, na Shilpa. I
Ah,
read, and he was a merchant, and he was a diamond merchant. He was very rich, but he was a realized man. Okay, so that's why there's no rejection at all. You say, oh, business is making profit. No, it's not a spiritual activity. Wrong. You can do it for the divine. Okay. So that's what Swami is saying. So you can make every activity provided you have the feeling that you are doing it for the divine in that person or in that activity. The remembrance. Now this is a fantastically important word, remembrance. We must constantly think of the divine. He must be there in the background of our mind. It's not easy, but it can be done. Remembrance of the divine. Then, as though he is there everywhere with you all the time. Okay. I tell my students something very interesting when we do this. I tell them that when you are riding your scooter and coming from your house to knowledge, think that mother is the pillion rider. She is sitting with you. Think in that way. Then the whole quality of life changes. Okay? So that's a remembrance and the dedication. Whatever you do, you are doing it for the divine and not for yourself. It is turned, if you do that, these three things: feeling, remembrance, dedication. It is turned into a movement of the spiritual consciousness and becomes a part of its vast grasp of comprehensive, illuminating knowledge. So he has been speaking about the works of knowledge and is saying that all these things, whether it be sociology, psychology, okay, labor problems, all these things can be art, poetry, beauty, all these things can be made part of the spiritual life. Okay? Very condensed language, but very, very clear what he's saying. So we read the next one. Okay? I hope you enjoyed the para as much as I did. It's wonderful. Okay, shall we read the next one? We have got time. We got about 12, 13 minutes. We can read the next one. For all must be done.
Shall I
Who will
read?
read?
um,
Yeah.
shall I read the Tarika Bin or Archana Devi read?
Yeah.
No, no. Shilpa, if you want to read, you read. Sure.
No, then tomorrow we can read. You have a 2-day chance. That's why I was
Yeah.
asking.
Okay. Archanadi is reading.
Archana Di, would you like to read? They are asking. But hers is muted. No, let's.
Okay, then I'll read. I'll
Yeah.
read.
Tarika, read. For all must be done.
For all must be done as a sacrifice. All activities must have the one divine for their object and the heart of their meaning. The yogins aim in the sciences that make for knowledge should be to discover and understand the workings of the divine consciousness puissance in man and creatures and things and forces, her creative significances, her execution of the mysteries, the symbols in which she arranges the manifestation. The yogins aim in the practical sciences, whether mental and physical or occult and psychic, should be to enter into the ways of the divine and his processes, to know the materials and means for the work given to us, so that we may use that knowledge for a conscious and faultless expression of the Spirit's mastery, joy, and self fulfillment. The yogin's aim in the arts should not be a mere aesthetic, mental, or vital gratification, but seeing the divine everywhere, worshipping it with a revelation of the meaning of its works, to express that one divine in gods and men and creatures and objects.
I
The
think you.
theory, the theory that sees an intimate connection between religious aspiration and the truest and greatest art is in essence right. But we must substitute for the mixed and doubtful religious motive a spiritual aspiration, vision, interpreting experience. For the wider and more comprehensive the seeing, the more it contains in itself the sense of the hidden divine in humanity and in all things, and rises beyond a superficial religiosity into the spiritual life. The more luminous, flexible, deep, and powerful will the art be that springs from the high motive. The yogin's distinction from other men is that he lives in a higher and vaster spiritual consciousness. All his work of knowledge or creation must then spring from there. It must not be made in the mind, for it is a greater truth and vision than mental man's that he has to express, or rather that presses to express itself through him and mold his works, not for his personal satisfaction, but for a divine purpose.
Okay, so we have about 10 minutes. So I'll do one thing. I'll first quickly read the summary of what he's saying. Then if there is time, we will go back to each sentence. But it's quite a big para, so we'll see. Let's read the summary first, okay? So he's saying in this para, how to make, when you read Sri Aurobindo, he answers questions which he does not formulate himself. So the way to read Sri Aurobindo is, when you have read the para, you ask yourself, what is he asking? Okay, what's he answering? So you formulate a question to yourself. So in this one, he is answering the question which he has not stated, but you have to state to yourself. Beginning, you go back. The question is, how to make all mundane activities into a yogic effort? What is the process? How do you do that? That's what he is answering in this para. Okay. How to make all mundane activities into a yogic effort? By doing everything, then he is answering. By doing everything in the spirit of a sacrifice. You have to do it for the Lord and not for yourself. Okay, that's a sacrifice. An offering, a consecration of the divine in two ways. One, internal attitude. Two, the purpose of action is for the divine, not for oneself or the ego. In the activities of all sciences, okay, philosophy, psychology, linguistics, literature, the seeking of knowledge must be for the purpose of understanding the workings and processes that the divine uses for action in the world, in man, in animals, and in universal nature. All things and events must be understood as symbols. Everything that you see has to be seen as a symbol of the divine, of the corresponding higher spiritual realities. In the activities of the practical sciences, medicine, engineering, etc., including mental, physical, occult, psychic, okay? And examples are hypnosis, ESP, extrasensory perception, telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience, okay? Psychokinesis, he is not, I am listing all these things. Poltergeist, okay? That means things move by themselves. It's a huge subject of study. Suddenly things start moving by themselves without any apparent force. Man must try to understand the processes, the methods and laws governing these phenomena so that man gets rightful and beneficial mastery over these psychic activities. In the activities of art, the aim should be not merely for aesthetic reasons. Okay, I am only seeking beauty. No, that's fine, but it should go beyond that. Mental and vital gratification. You find satisfaction in what you have done. There is nothing wrong in that, but there should not be only that. but to see the divine everywhere, to express the divine in the most beautiful forms, principles, and forces. The arts should enable the yogin to see the supreme divine in gods and men and creatures and objects. Everywhere you must see the divine. Is there any connection between art and spirituality? Is the other thing that he is asking and is answering. There certainly is, as everything is really divine in essence. But this is more obviously true for art and spiritual life, since it is beauty and joy that is the core of the arts. Okay. But religious motives uh, are often demands and entreaties for egoistic satisfaction. These must be banished and replaced by aspiration, vision, and interpreting experience. The more one widens one's seeing, the more is the divine revealed in everything. Mere religion then grows into spirituality. The yogin's consciousness is always higher than that of the ordinary man. It is not the mind that is the source of the yogin's activities, but the vast, deep consciousness. So, the normal man acts for himself. The yogin acts for and by God. That's the ultimate. Okay. That's what he's saying. It's a very interesting paragraph, and there's a lot that can be discussed. Okay, so we have only now 2 minutes left, so we can't do that today, but we will do this next time. Okay, so just one second, I have to. The normal man acts for himself. The yogin does the same work. That's the interesting part. No rejection of any work. For God and by God. That's what he has said. Okay? So, shall we close here today?
Okay.
Okay.